Hello and welcome to this episode of the Top Gear Philippines Magazine podcast. And it's a very special episode because we have Pedro Simoes here.
Yes.
And he's the managing director of Ford Philippines.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. It's really a pleasure.
Yeah. So, Pedro, I think we start all our podcasts with guests with a specific question. And it's a simple one. If you had no budget and no brand affiliation, what's your dream three-car garage?
Ooh. That is a very good question. I always answer that question in one way because I've thought about it, actually. I would start by buying a big warehouse. I need space. And then there's a couple of things. Look, let's start with my brand. Okay?
Yes.
I think definitely Ranger Raptor V6 would be there on the garage. I've said this multiple times. It is one, if not my favorite car today in the lineup. Of the entire Ford globally, not just in the Philippines. It strikes a good balance between the power, the way it drives on the road, off-road. So it's really an amazing car, not just to go off-road and play a little bit, but even if you have to use it on a day-to-day basis, it's a great car. I would love to have a Ford GT on my garage. I think it is
GT or the GT40? The
GT40.
The GT40.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is an amazing car. I don't know if I can get in the car, honestly. I think I might have to go to the gym. But it is something that would be, I think it would look good in my garage. And then I would have to say an Aston Martin or a 911, something like this to complete the garage.
Okay. So it makes sense because you have a relatively practical pickup, off-roader that can go anywhere. And then you have a very brand-specific supercar.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you have a third one, which is a sports car.
Yeah.
So something day-to-day. So something you can actually get in and out. I don't know if they're...
Yes. Easier to get in and out.
Yeah. So, Pedro, how has your Philippine experience been so far? You've been here about 9-10 months already. Yeah.
9 months. Yeah, time flies. Yes. 9 months. So I arrived here in end of November, so December, let's say. So we are now in August, so it's 9 months. Yeah, or heading to 9 months. So it's been really good experience. I think first of all, people are very warm and they welcome me very well. The team in the Ford Group Philippines as well did an amazing job of bring me up to speed on the business and to welcome me, to get me, to help me to settle as quick as possible to be able to do my job. And obviously we have our dealer partners as well that are a great team, a great bunch, which also were very kind on the way they welcoming me and they helped me to settle in the Philippines. Life here is good. I think if you don't know, I spent 10 years in the Middle East before here. So the weather for me, even in the summer, is a great weather. I had a huge pleasure. It was very acceptable. A little bit of rain now, but it's okay. After a very dry 12 months of the year in the Middle East, I can live with some rain now. So far it's been good.
Yeah.
How's traffic? How do you find traffic?
So, well, it has its days, right? So I've been very lucky in most of the times where actually managed to not be stuck in traffic too much. I do my life mostly on the south, so our office is in the south. I live in the south as well, so close to the office. So on my day-to-day basis, I don't face a lot of traffic. Only when I have to come a little bit more towards the BGC, Makati area that I find a bit of traffic. But it's just, I think it's part of living here. If you want to live here, you need to learn how to deal with traffic, and that's something.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just a fact of life. That's it.
Yeah.
So, what are some of the challenges you faced since you took the reins of Ford Philippines?
Yeah. So I think one of the key challenges I think for me was excise tax. Right?
Yes.
The implementation of excise tax on the pickups. So obviously we understand, and we are here with with the government and the entities that are implementing. But preparing ourselves in a short time, to get ready for the implementation, make sure that that we also give the chance to the customers. So that was a challenge we had to go through. But I think the team did a good job. I think the numbers speak for itself in terms of the last 2 months, in terms of the sales of pickups and the sales of Ranger. And now it's a question of how is the market going to evolve, right? So that's the challenge. I think Yeah, that I wouldn't say it's a challenge, but Ford is a very strong brand in the Philippines, right? So how do we remain strong? How do we remain relevant to the Filipino customer, right? Today, there's so many choices, new brands, new choice of powertrains, so many choices. So how do we still remain relevant to the Filipino customer? So I think that is challenge. And for me, that's how we come together in terms of the product we bring to the market, right? The areas we're getting into, like we having this really fun to drive, smart, capable, reliable products, but also now offering the choices of maybe getting into electrification, right? And
which brings us to the meat of this. You just launched the Ford Territory Hybrid and the Mach-E as a surprise last Friday.
Yes.
So how has your journey been for electrification? Because I know Ford, we have to be honest now. It's been a little bit late to the party when it comes to this, but it's coming out swinging.
Yes.
So how has the electrification journey been for you?
Yeah. No, look, I understand the comment about maybe the timing being behind, but if we look at how the market has evolved, now for me is the right time. Right, there is a certain level of infrastructure that can support, in some areas, can support the Mach-E, and I think the customer is ready for electrification, is more open to the new technology of electrification that will support something like the Territory Hybrid, right, where you have the convenience of not needing to plug, not needing the infrastructure to charge, but you still get the efficiency of the technology, the hybrid technology. So I think from a timing perspective, I would argue, but again, obviously I understand the other point of view, but I would argue that this is now the right time. The customer is ready. The customer is actually wanting and asking us for. And again, it's part of what we do, right? We listen to the customer, we listen to the market, and we choose the best times to bring the product that we believe is going to be the best product for the market and for the customer at that point in time.
Yeah, so I think I'll let Anton and Dinzo take the lead when it comes to the Territory Hybrid and the Mach-E. But we have a running bet going for the price of the Mach-E. And for those who don't know, we're recording this a few days before the launch. So technically, we still don't know how much it is. But my bet, and I think all of us should have a bet on how much it is. And the winner gets a hug from Pedro. But my bet is 4 million. I think it's 4 million.
I'm thinking about 3.7, 3.6.
Maybe 3.5 for me with Evida.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I can say someone's probably going to get a hug and a kiss because it's very, very close to the price.
Oh.
3,499.
Oh, wow. That's a good price.
Yes.
That's a good
price.
and product marketing.
Let's talk about after. No. 3,499. Like, look, it is an amazing product, right? I think, like I said, we coming in to win. Right?
Yes.
First of all, we bring in Mach-E because it's a Mustang, right? It's the first time that the Mustang nameplate gets an SUV.
Yeah.
But it's not that is losing on what Mustang is all about, right? In terms of performance, in terms of the thrill of the open road, right?
Yeah.
It's all there. It still delivers on that. So whenever you sit behind the wheel, you still feel that you are in a Mustang.
Yeah.
So that's why Mustang Mach-E was the right product for us to get into the full electrified journey. Now, imagine a car with 394 horsepower, almost 676 Newton meter of torque. Like, it is a beast, right? Yeah. It really redefines what means performance in this. It's Ford's way of showing this is how electrification should be, right? This is how performance is going to look like in an electrified world.
No, but it's funny because when the Mustang Mach-E was first announced, a lot of people had issue with the name, had issue with the car.
Like, why put the Mustang badge on EVs? Yeah. And then when people started driving, it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, no, but it's the funniest thing is that me and Dinzo, we actually like weird looking cars. So like me and Dinzo, one of our favorite BMWs is the X6.
Okay.
So when the Mach-E came out as an SUV that had a coupe top and a little bit of a raised, we really liked it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
look, I'm going to be honest, right? I love cars, I love driving and everything. So I was on the same field, right? Okay, Mustang, such an iconic name. Is it really going to work? It's not about the SUV shape, because quite honestly, a lot of other brands have moved into the SUV, and the SUV can be as sporty today as a coupe, right? Yeah. But it was the electrification, right? Will it really live up to the brand? And then I sat behind the wheel. I got to drive the car, and I changed completely my opinion. I was like, this is it. This is a Mustang, right? Okay. doesn't have the roar of a V8, which personally I love, but it has so much power and torque that really grabs you to, you glued to the seat, right? It's just amazing. I really recommend anyone that is really into this and into getting into the electrification to go test drive the car, because it is an amazing experience. And how the car goes around the corners, right? Because the low center of gravity with the batteries on the floor, right? It just, even though it is a taller car, but it still has a low center of gravity, so it still corners so well. And then you have all the power, and again, 676 Newton meter of torque. It's a lot of torque, right?
It is, yeah.
When you put all that to work, it gives you that performance that you expect from a Mustang, but with the convenience of having almost 480 liters of space for your luggage, space for your family, comfort. You have all the features, leather seats, power seats as well. Everything is there, big screen. So it's a proper. You have all the convenience and comfort, but you still drive a Mustang. You still have the performance.
What's the range on the Mustang now?
550 kilometers.
Wow.
Okay, that's actually long.
And less than 5 seconds, 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Perfect. Yeah. But no, 550 is what? Baguio?
550 kilometers is you can go to Pagudpud and
Baguio and back.
Yeah.
Baguio is about 250 kilometers.
Yeah. And customers can test this in any Ford dealer or specific Ford dealers?
No, there are specific Ford dealers. So we have 7 dealers around the country that will be selling the Mach-E.
Okay. That's interesting.
Are they gonna have chargers? Are you gonna sell chargers?
Yeah, so the car itself comes with a home charger.
Oh, cool.
That's then we have obviously a preferred partner that can go and install for the
Of
customer
course,
if the customer wants it to get installed, because we understand as well that not everyone has the ability to get it installed at home. So it depends on customer to customer. But again, they get the free charger with the car.
That's good.
And then our dealer partners are also investing in having public charger in their facilities. And obviously they will have the charging in the workshop whenever you go for service or before they deliver the car, where the car can be charged.
All right, so we're gonna bring it back down to earth again with the more practical territory. Well, the more attainable for a lot more people.
Yeah.
One thing that surprised us about the Territory hybrid was one, thank you for making its world debut in the country.
Yes.
And two, the price. Of course, the taxes, the tax breaks definitely helped there. But what was the thought process that went into it? It's how did you guys how were you guys able to price it that very competitively?
Yeah. So maybe I'll take a step back, because the process of developing a car, bringing a car to the market is not something that happens overnight.
Of course,
As much as we would love to, to be as quick as, but it takes time, right? So we look at the infrastructure available, we look at what are the technologies available, what is the price points that the customer are willing and willing to pay for a vehicle of this size, of this kind of shape, and so on. So when you put all those things together, that's how it comes to the price and the product, right? I think the Territory, it's been a success in the Philippines since the launch, right?
Yes.
I think there's no doubt about that. Especially the space of the car has been something the customer really appreciate. The technology, the screens.
You were the first ones with the big screen.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Especially on that segment at that price point, right? Like big screen and all that. So all those kind of things made the Territory a very special product. So now, how do we move from here? Was the question. Okay, so. And I think when we look at the Philippines, and it's the infrastructure available was at the point where the right technology for us was a hybrid. Okay, the customer is willing to take on electrification, so they was ready, and then what we do next? Okay, what type of hybrid? It can be from a mild hybrid, just a small battery, small engine, to full all the way to the plug-in hybrid, right? But we thought, looking at the technology available to us, that this was the best technology, and allows us to put it in the price point that the customer is right bang on where the customer is looking for a vehicle of this type. So that was kind of the rationale behind of how we price, how we brought to the market, how we chose the technology to bring the car to the market.
The Territory itself it's pretty big for its segment, because it's we put air quotes on subcompact and that. It's a big subcompact crossover.
Yes.
And even before, even the first generation, people bought it because, like, hey, for this money, I can get a bigger crossover.
Yes.
And I guess it also helps that the territory has a very strong equity in the country. In terms of sales, what are you sort of expecting from the territory hybrid?
I'll answer that with we want to be number one. Right?
Okay.
Okay.
That's what we aim, right? I think territory was and has been number one in the way at least that we look at that segment and where we play. Okay, so because every OEM has different ways of looking at the market. So I just want to put here a disclaimer and note. This is on the way we look at the market. We've been number one, which is on this larger size type of SUV. Such as a territory. So we want to be the number one. We want to grow the sales from where we are today. Obviously, with the move to electrification, not going to hide, right? The sales have not been as at the same level that it was in the past. And again, if you have access to Campi data, you'll know it, right? So we want to go back to where we were before and grow, right? We want to grow. We want to be number one on, again, disclaimer, when we look at the market. We want to be number one.
And given the popularity of the territory, would you say the Philippines is one of the biggest markets for the territory in the world?
I'll answer that in two ways. In one way, yes, from a market share perspective.
Okay. Wow.
But there are parts of the world where the volume of territory is much larger because the segments are much larger as well.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, we see all the traffic, but we have to realize that in the Philippines, we don't sell as many cars, really.
It's still a good market.
It's growing when a lot are contracting.
Exactly. So it's still growing. It's still, if we look, there's still potential, right? So if you look at the number of cars per 1,000 inhabitants in the Philippines, there's still space compared to many of the other, even ASEAN countries. I'm not even go to Europe or US or some other markets, right? But even within ASEAN, there's clearly still a space, but it's quite a big market, right? We're getting close to 500,000 cars a year, so that's not a small market at all. But the subcompact crossover, as you call it, right? It is a smaller segment within this. So that's why the volume, even though we have quite big market share within that, but when we look at other markets where the industries are 1 million, something million, and the segment is 10%, 12% of the industry, so they do have higher volumes. Yeah. But it's still a very important market, and that's why we also are the first ones to launch the hybrid, this technology of hybrid in the world, right? Because it is an important market. And fun fact was, I think if I'm not mistaken, was the first market to launch the first generation territory outside China.
Oh. Yes, we were, yeah.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah.
So it's actually, I actually love Ford's lineup because you have the Raptor, which is one of the best off-road pickups. You have the Bronco, which is one of the best off-road SUVs. You have the Mustang, which is probably one of the best touring cars, two-door V8.
Oh, yeah.
The only one left.
Yeah.
And then you have a good balance in the low-end market as well. So my question for you is, you've launched your first hybrid, you've launched your first EV, all in the same day. From here, where do you go in terms of electrification for Ford? What's the next step for Ford?
Wow. All right. So I'm gonna try not to answer that with the mechanical answer of we don't comment in the future product cycle plan.
Yeah.
Very
You always get from everyone, right? So I'll try to answer in some, like, obviously cannot disclose what else is there. So what I can say, what are we committed to is, we're listening always to the customer, right? We have a very customer-centric mindset in Ford. So we are listening to the customer, always listening to the market. If the customer continues the journey of electrification, or for those that really want to up the game on electrification, we're going to be there with them. For those customers that still prefer a little bit more traditional, I think we're also going to be there with them, right? I think choice is really the important part going forward, right? It is in a phase, the market that is not going to move 100% to one side, neither going to go to the other side, right? So it's going to have choices. The customer will want to have choice, and that's what we're working on now. There's a lot of good stuff we're working on, obviously, right? We can't stop. I think one of, maybe going back to the original question of the challenge, I think one of the challenges was, and the Ford lineup was a bit the same for some time. So now we are revamping the lineup, and we need to make sure that we'll continue to do so. So we need to always have something. So there's maybe something new coming in the future, possibly, yes. But more important is, as I said again, looking at what the customer is looking for, looking at what can we bring that will work in the market. And when I say work, again, delivers on the DNA of Ford: smart, capable, reliable, fun to drive. That's a very important thing, right? Delivers on the price points where the customer is willing to pay. We can bring a lot of cars, right? A lot of people ask, what about,
the Ford GT Expedition?
A lot of these cars, but yes, okay, we can bring, but can we price it in a way that is, competitive in the market? Maybe not. So we'll bring cars that can be winners within the segment that they play. So that's how we look at it.
Okay.
Speaking of other cars, President Marcos went to the US, and then there was
some
trade
talking.
talk, and then the tariffs are down to 0.
Yes.
Any comment on that? Basically, because the only manufacturers will be possibly affected are you,
BMW.
Chevy. Very few. The Japanese are not really.
Yeah.
So is it good news?
So on the face value of it, yes, good news, right? I want to wait for this active order to understand exactly how it's going to be implemented, when it's going to be implemented. But obviously, going forward, whatever the way it goes, we will obviously follow, and we will work with with the right entities, with our partners, to make sure that whatever the benefits that will come, that the customer can see that benefit as well on the ground, because that's why they're doing this, right? So, but definitely a measure or a change like that, right, can have an impact on the industry, because now all of a sudden you have some brands that can benefit from it, that can bring cars that probably are in segments that are less attractive today because of the price point, that all of a sudden, again, 30% is quite a lot.
Yeah,
It's quite a lot. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, a segment price point can drive to down to a way where the customer is now, back to your point earlier, right? Well, maybe for this price I get so much car. Maybe maybe I'll go for it. Right?
Something like the Explorer, for example, it's made in Chicago.
Yes.
That segment, I mean, it's not a volume segment, but it's doing pretty well for itself. So, we'll see where this goes, right?
Yes, exactly. Now, I think right now we are on what I would call hold on.
You have to wait and see, because they always change their mind. You never know.
It's not about changing the mind, right? So sometimes the implementation is different than all we have is the tweet from the U.S. presidents and Trump, right, and then a few more of news, right? But we want to see the
paperwork,
the neat and gritty, right? Like the fine print on the what does it mean, how is it going to be implemented, from when, and so for sure. We are excited. This is a good opportunity. It's good that the two countries are talking to each other and working together to get benefits to the Filipino customer. We will find a way to once it is done and once it is confirmed, then we'll find a way on how this can help us as well be with our customers.
Okay, so that's all the time we have today. Pedro, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
It was super fun. Congratulations on your first launch.
Thank you.
Your first launch here is the Territory Hybrid and the Mach-E.
Double one, straight away.
Yeah. So EJ's getting you worked up.
And someone still has a hug to get.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that.
Okay, so thanks for joining us, guys. This is Pedro Simoes from Ford Philippines, and this has been the last episode of this season of the Top Gear Philippines magazine podcast. So we'll see you again next season.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Until next time.